Hi, 7th graders. Today's lesson is 7.1.3, Solving Problems Involving Percents. Make sure you have shown your teacher your homework and you have your book or ebook open to this lesson, which is on page 390 if you're using a textbook. Make sure you have your title written down, and when you're ready, you can play the video again. Seven point 1.3, which multiplier should I use? Solving problems involving percents. As you have seen many times in this course, there is usually more than one way to solve a problem. When a problem using portions, fractions, decimals, or percents, there are different ways to write the numbers in different solving strategies to choose from. Today you will look at the different multipliers that can scale a quantity and see what each of them will help you find. As you work with your team today, consider the questions below. What multiplier or scale factor should I use, and how can I write an equation? The first problem we're going to do together is 727. Hugo and his family were shopping and purchased a new bed. The bed was a great deal at 60% off of the original cost. The bed originally cost $245. Draw a diagram for this situation. So I'm going to draw my diagram below, and you need to be drawing your diagram in your notebook. So my diagram's going to go from 0 to 100%, and 100% will be the total cost, and then it will go from $0 to $245. If I go too fast at any point for you here, feel free to pause the video. Alright, they told me it was 60% off, so I know that I can split my 100% into tens, which is really easy. So I'm going to split my number line into tens, and you should do the same. Mine aren't exactly even. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? So then I have 60% off. So if I'm going off, I'm going to start from the beginning here. So it would be 60% off. I'm going to draw below actually. So 1, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So that's 60% off. And that's the amount of cost that comes off the price. So we don't know that much. And then this part is 40%. And that's how much I'll pay, because 60% comes off, which means I have 40% left to pay. And that is also an amount that we do not know. Okay, so that's what your diagram should look like. If you need to pause the video and finish drawing, you can, and then press play when you're ready. B says if Hugo scales or multiplies the original price of the bed by 60%, what will his result represent? And that's what we just talked about as I was making my chart, that 60% equals the amount off of the total cost. Because if I go back, it's 60% off, so I don't pay that amount. It's off of the total cost. So that's the answer for B. 60% represents the amount off of the total cost. C says, make sure you have that written in your notebook first of all. That's the answer to B. C says, what should Hugo scale or multiply the original price by to find the new price of the bed? So hopefully you remember we talked about that 40% is the price that you pay. So if I multiply 245 by 40%, that will be 40% is the price he will pay. So we'd multiply by 40%. D says work with your team to find the sale price of the bed in 2 different ways. That is, using different multipliers or scale factors. How do your answers from the 2 methods compare? So if you'd like to pause the video and try this on your own, you can. If not, I will keep talking and walk you through the 2 different ways. So feel free to do either. The first thing that I would do is multiply 245 times 60%, and hopefully you know that 60% is also written as 0.6. So if you'd like to get your calculator out and do 245 times 0.6, I'll give you a second to do that. Hopefully you got 147. So 60% off is $147. So now I would do 245 minus, do like that. I'll just write with my pen. Minus 147. So here I'm going to have to borrow 13, and then I have 15 minus 7 is 8, and 13 minus 4 is 9. So here I find the price he will pay is $98. So that will be how much is left after I take 60% off. Now the other way I can do it is I can just start with 245 times 40%, and if you do that on your calculator, I'll give you a second. Hopefully you find that that is 98%, and that's my answer right away. So either way would work. You could find out how much is off and then subtract it from the total, or you can just multiply by the price you know you're going to pay, and that will be your final answer. So both of those methods work. The second one might be a little quicker, but unless you need to find what 60% off is, the first method might be easier, because then I could fill in both pieces of my chart here. Because I know that 40% is 98, 8, and 60% is 147. We're going to do one more problem together, 728. Hugo's older sister, Sandra, had the same summer job for the past 2 years. Last year, she worked the entire summer and was paid a salary of $3,000. This summer, she was going to get a 6% raise in pay. To figure out how much she will make, Sandra drew the following diagram. Okay, so A says copy the diagram on your paper and fill in the missing information. So please pause the video and draw this diagram here to start. Okay, now we need to fill in the missing information. So it says that her last summer salary we know was $3,000, so I can fill that in. I know that 0% of her pay would be here at the end, and I know that would be $0. Okay, so I can fill that in. And her percent increase, I don't know. So I can leave that part blank. B says, since Sandra's salary is increasing, does it make more sense that her scale factor or multiplier should be less than 1, equal to 1, or more than 1, and why? I'd like you to pause the video and write down what you think the answer is before we talk about it. Okay, hopefully you see that it would be more than 1, because if I do less than 1, it would be less than $3,000. if I do more than one, multiplying by more than one will give me more than $3,000. So my multiplier would have to be greater than 1 since it is an increase in salary. Okay. The next part is C. The diagram shows Sandra's original salary and the amount of the increase. What is the scale factor or multiplier between her original salary and her new salary? That is, what number could Sandra multiply the original salary by to get the new salary? So the way I'm going to explain this is the new salary equals 100%, and as a whole number that's equal to 1. The new, sorry, this is the original. Salary is 1. The new salary equals 6%, and 6% is the same as 0.06. So the number I can multiply it by is the 1/2 of the original plus the 6% of the new. So that would be 1 plus 0.06 equals 1.06. Hopefully you see that makes sense, that I have her whole 100% of her salary plus that 6% more. So 1.06 times 3,000 will get me the new amount. And I know 1 times 3,000 is 3,000, so that 0.06% more will be the increase added upon the $3,000. D says show 2 ways that you could use different scale factors or multipliers that Sandra can use to compute her new salary. For this, I'd like you to pause the video and try it on your own. When you're done, you can play the video again and I'll show you my 2 answers. Hopefully you have something similar to mine. Here are my 2 different ways that I found Sandra's new salary. So the first thing I did was I took 3,000 times 1.06, so that's 100% plus the 6% raise, and I got $3,180. The other way I chose to do it was 3,000 times 1, so that's 100% of her original salary is 3,000, and then I took 3,000 times 0.06, so that's 6% of her original salary, so that's a 6% raise, and that equals $180. In total, that's $3,180. So her new salary, the increase is $180. So you're going to go back and add this to yours, and then 106% of her original salary is her new salary, which is, this is $3,180. All right, now it's time for you to try on your own. So you're going to do problems 29 and 30 on your own, and when you can show your teacher you're finished, then you'll get the homework 33 through 38. Good luck, and ask your teacher if you have any questions.